If you want peace, stop seeking validation. That might sound simple, even obvious, but let's be real. How many of us are actually doing it? Every single day, we scroll through social media, measure our worth in likes and comments, adjust our personalities depending on who's in the room, and second-guess our choices based on what others might think. We say we want peace, we say we want to be free, but we're still handing our self-worth over to other people like it's a product for sale. And then we wonder why we feel anxious. We wonder why we feel exhausted, lost, or constantly on edge. It's because we're living in a way that's out of alignment with who we truly are. We're performing instead of being. We're pleasing instead of living. And as long as we keep doing that, peace will always be out of reach. Let's be honest. Seeking validation is seductive. It gives you a quick hit of satisfaction. When someone compliments you, it feels good. When someone approves of your decision, you feel reassured. But that kind of peace is shallow. It's temporary, because the moment that approval fades, so does your confidence. So does your calm. And that's when you realize you were never really at peace. You were just distracted. You see, validation is like a drug. The more you rely on it, the more dependent you become. And the more dependent you become, the further you drift from your own inner voice, your own truth. You start doing things not because they matter to you, but because they look good to them. And that is the fastest way to lose your peace. But what if you could cut the cord? What if you could stop living for likes, stop needing to be understood, and stop waiting for someone else to say you're enough? What if you could finally say, I don't need your approval to be at peace. I approve of myself, and that's more than enough. That's the journey this video is going to take you on. We're going to uncover the deep-rooted need for validation, where it comes from, why it's so hard to let go, and how it's been silently stealing your joy. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to break free, how to build inner validation that doesn't waver, how to trust your own voice, how to develop the strength to walk in peace even if no one claps for you along the way. Because real peace doesn't come when everyone approves of you. It comes the moment you stop needing them to. So if you're tired of living for everyone else, if you're ready to stop chasing applause and start embracing authenticity, stay with me. This message is the shift you've been waiting for. The endless trap of external approval. Let's be honest, we've all been there, posting something online and checking repeatedly to see how many likes it gets, saying yes to something we didn't want to do just to avoid disappointing someone, dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, living a certain way, just to feel accepted. But here's the painful truth. As long as you seek validation from others, you will never truly be free. And without freedom, there is no peace. The chase for external approval is a silent addiction. It doesn't come with flashing warning signs, it doesn't shout, you're losing yourself. But over time, it drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and robs you of authenticity. You start molding yourself into what others want, into what society expects. And little by little, the real you, your dreams, your voice, your inner peace, fades into the background. You might think validation brings comfort, that a compliment or a nod of approval will finally make you feel good enough. But the high is always temporary. It fades as fast as it came, and then you're right back where you started, questioning yourself, doubting your worth, looking for the next pat on the back to keep going. It's a cycle of dependence, and peace does not live in dependence. Here's something powerful to remember. When you rely on others to tell you who you are, you give them the power to tell you who you're not. That is dangerous. Because the moment someone criticizes you or doesn't respond the way you hoped, you crumble. Your confidence crashes. Why? Because it wasn't rooted in you. It was planted in someone else's opinion. But what if you could break the cycle? What if you could stop needing permission to feel worthy? What if you could decide that your value isn't something to be measured by applause, but something that simply is, unconditional, immovable, and whole? Can you stop chasing validation? You start building a life that is truly yours. You stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, do I like me? You stop molding yourself to fit in and start showing up as your authentic self. Raw, real, and unbothered. And that, right there, is where peace lives. It doesn't mean you become arrogant. It means you become grounded. Grounded in truth. Grounded in self-respect. Grounded in the unshakable belief that you are enough with or without applause. So ask yourself, are you living for peace or for approval? Because you can't have both. One requires silence, the other needs constant noise. One fills your soul, the other drains it. Choose peace, and to do that you must stop seeking validation. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Why you crave validation? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you crave validation in the first place? Why is it that a compliment can lift your spirit while a single disapproving look can ruin your entire day? It's not weakness, it's conditioning, and it starts early. From the moment we are born, we are taught to seek approval. As children, we're praised for doing what our parents expect, for being obedient, polite, quiet, controlled. Good grades earn us praise. Good behavior earns us love. We begin to associate acceptance with performance. We believe, often unconsciously, that we must do something or be someone in order to be loved, valued, or respected. This belief system becomes the blueprint for how we navigate adulthood. It shows up in your relationships, when you tolerate disrespect just to feel needed. It shows up at work when you burn yourself out just to be seen as dedicated. It shows up on social media when you present a curated version of your life just to feel liked. We become so used to adjusting ourselves to win approval that we forget who we actually are without it. But let me tell you something powerful. Validation is not love. It's a transaction. And your soul was not created to be a product of transactions. Real peace doesn't come from being admired. It comes from being aligned with your values, your voice, your truth. When you seek validation constantly, what you're really doing is looking for permission. Permission to feel beautiful. Permission to feel successful. Permission to believe that you're doing okay. But think about it. Why do you need someone else's permission to believe in yourself? The need for validation often stems from fear, the fear of not being enough. That fear convinces you that unless someone else confirms your worth, you can't trust it. But this is a lie that keeps you stuck. The truth is, your worth is inherent. It's not based on your achievements, your image, or your popularity. It exists because you exist. To truly find peace, you have to confront that inner wound, the part of you that still feels like they're not enough unless someone else says so. You have to stop outsourcing your identity to other people's opinions. No one knows you like you do. And no one's opinion of you should matter more than your own. You will never be at peace if your confidence is built on shifting sand, the ever-changing approval of others. Real peace is built on rock, the solid, unshakable belief that you are worthy, no matter what anyone says or doesn't say. So instead of asking, do they approve of me? Start asking, why do I need them to? That's the question that unlocks freedom. And once you break free from the craving for validation, peace will no longer feel like a distant dream. It will become your new reality. The cost of living for others. There's a heavy price to pay when you live your life for the approval of others. It may not cost you money, but it will cost you your peace, your authenticity, and eventually, your identity. When you constantly seek validation, you begin to shape your decisions around what they might think. They, the people whose opinions you fear, the people you want to impress, the ones you silently hope will accept you. Every action starts to revolve around this invisible audience, and without even realizing it, you become a performer on the stage of life, acting out a role that doesn't truly belong to you. Think about it. How many times have you said yes when everything inside you screamed no? How often have you stayed silent to avoid judgment or pretended to be okay just to be liked? It seems harmless at first, but each time you deny your truth for approval, you chip away at your self-respect. Each time you twist yourself to fit into someone else's mold, you drift further away from your real self. And here's the most painful part. Even when you get the validation you crave, it never feels like enough. You post the picture, get the likes, hear the praise, but that feeling fades quickly. Why? Because deep down, you know it wasn't truly for you. It was a performance, and that means the peace that follows is shallow, momentary, and hollow. Living for others also traps you in a state of anxiety. You're always on edge, always wondering if you're doing enough, saying enough, looking good enough. You become afraid to fail, not because failure is bad, but because someone might see you fail. And just like that, your life becomes a tightrope walk, a balancing act between who you are and who you're pretending to be. But here's the truth you need to hear today. You are not here to live a life that makes others comfortable. You are here to live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you want true peace, you have to reclaim your voice. You have to stop trying to meet everyone's expectations and start honoring your own. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. The world needs the real, raw, unfiltered version of you. You are allowed to disappoint others in order to be true to yourself. You are allowed to walk away from people who only love the version of you that performs for their approval. You are allowed to make choices based on your values, not their validation. And the day you start doing that, the day you stop living for others and start living for yourself, is the day you stop existing and start truly living. Because peace isn't found in people-pleasing. Peace is found in self-honoring. The illusion of control. One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is this: if I do everything right, everyone will like me. We believe that if we look perfect, act perfect, say all the right things, and avoid stepping on toes, then we'll finally get the validation we crave. We think we can control how people see us. And that's the biggest illusion of all. Let's break it down. You could be the kindest, most genuine, most thoughtful person on the planet, and still, someone will misunderstand you. Someone will dislike you. Someone will judge you for things you never even did. Why? Because people don't see you as you are. They see you as they are. Their opinions are filtered through their own insecurities, wounds, biases, and life experiences. Trying to control people's perception of you is like trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how tight your grip, it slips through your fingers. It's exhausting. It's impossible. And worst of all, it keeps you from peace. You may think validation gives you a sense of power, that if people approve of you, you've somehow won. But in reality, the opposite is true. When you rely on validation, you hand your power over to others. You let strangers, critics, friends, even family members determine your worth. One compliment lifts you up. One criticism breaks you down. That's not control. That's captivity. Real power, real peace, comes from letting go of the need to control how others see you. It comes from understanding that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. You weren't created to be universally approved. You were created to live authentically. Freedom begins when you stop obsessing over how you're being perceived and start focusing on how you feel about yourself. Do you like the way you show up in the world? Are you proud of how you handle challenges, treat others, and honor your values? That's what matters. As you see, peace isn't loud. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need applause. It's quiet. It's calm. And it comes when you finally say, I'm done performing. I'm done pretending. I'm done needing everyone to understand or agree with me. And ironically, when you stop trying to control how others see you, something incredible happens. The right people begin to see you clearly. Not the mask you wore, not the version of you shaped by fear, but the real you. And those are the people worth keeping. So stop trying to impress people who aren't even paying attention. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop trying to fit into spaces where your soul feels cramped. You don't need to be perfect to be at peace. You just need to be real. And that begins when you release the illusion of control and take your power back. How to reclaim your peace. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's not hidden in someone else's opinion or in the applause of a crowd. Peace is a conscious choice. And reclaiming it means taking your power back from every person, place, or pattern that's kept you dependent on their approval. So how do you do it? How do you reclaim your peace in a world that constantly tries to define you? You start by getting honest with yourself. You ask the hard questions. Am I living for myself, or am I constantly adjusting to make others comfortable? Am I saying yes when I want to say no? Am I hiding parts of myself to gain approval? These questions aren't easy, but they're necessary. Because self-awareness is the first step towards self-liberation. Next, you have to make a bold decision to stop apologizing for who you are. You are not here to be small. You are not here to shrink, to dim your light, or to blend in. You are here to show up fully, honestly, unapologetically. And that kind of authenticity shakes the world, but more importantly, it calms your soul. Reclaiming peace means setting boundaries. It means being okay with disappointing others if it means being true to yourself. It means walking away from conversations, relationships, and situations that demand you become someone you're not. Remember this: any space that costs you your peace is too expensive. It also means learning to sit with your own approval and letting it be enough. You don't need to be liked by everyone. You just need to respect yourself. When you make decisions from a place of self-respect instead of fear, everything begins to shift. You become clearer, stronger, lighter, because peace isn't passive, it's powerful. And reclaiming your peace doesn't mean becoming cold or disconnected. It means you stop needing to be liked to feel valuable. It means you stop explaining your worth. It means you choose to walk in confidence, even if you walk alone. Because solitude is far more peaceful than being surrounded by people who require you to be anything less than yourself. Let this be the season where you stop begging for acceptance and start building a life that reflects who you really are. Let this be the moment where you realize that your peace is your responsibility and no one else can protect it for you. You owe it to yourself to feel at home in your own mind, to wake up in the morning without anxiety about who might judge you, to go to bed at night knowing you honored your truth, even if no one applauded you for it. That's peace. And once you taste it, you'll stop trading it for temporary approval. Build inner validation. Daily practices. If you want to stop chasing external validation and finally feel peace, you need to start cultivating something far more powerful: inner validation. This means learning how to affirm yourself, trust yourself, and support yourself, even when no one else does. Because the truth is, peace isn't just something you feel, it's something you build, one daily habit at a time. Let's start with the foundation, your inner voice. What are you telling yourself every day? What thoughts run through your mind when you look in the mirror, when you make a mistake, or when you try something new. If that voice is full of judgment, doubt, or shame, then no amount of praise from others will bring you lasting peace. You need to become your own biggest supporter, not in a fake or arrogant way, but in a grounded, self-respecting way. Start by speaking affirmations over your life, not vague or empty words, but real, specific truths. Say things like, I am worthy, even when I'm not perfect. I trust myself to make good decisions. I do not need to prove myself to anyone. These statements rewire your mind. Over time, they silence the internal critic and awaken the inner cheerleader. Another powerful practice is journaling. Write down your thoughts, your wins, your emotions, your progress. Celebrate yourself, not just the big victories, but the small ones too. Did you set a boundary today? Did you speak up when it was hard? Did you say no when you used to always say yes? That's growth, that's power, and that's peace in motion. Next, embrace solitude. Learn to enjoy your own company. Turn off the noise. Put down your phone. Disconnect from the world and reconnect with yourself. Spend time reflecting, praying, meditating, or simply breathing, because when the world gets quiet, your truth gets louder, and the more time you spend alone, the less afraid you'll be of not being seen, because you'll already be seen by the most important person, you. And don't underestimate the power of your environment. Surround yourself with people who uplift your authenticity, not just your performance. People who see you, really see you, and don't demand you to change to feel loved. But even if those people aren't in your life yet, don't let that stop you from becoming your own support system. Inner validation also means giving yourself grace. You will mess up, you will fall back into old patterns sometimes, but peace isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Be kind to yourself on the journey. Talk to yourself the way you'd talk to someone you love. Because once you start validating yourself, truly, consistently, and unapologetically, the opinions of others begin to lose their grip on you. And that's when peace starts to rise from within. You don't need permission to be enough. You already are. Act like it, live like it, and build the kind of peace no one can take from you. How to handle criticism without losing yourself. One of the biggest reasons people chase validation is because they're terrified of its opposite, criticism. We avoid judgment like the plague. We adjust, shrink, and play small because deep down, we're afraid of being called out, misunderstood, or disliked. But if you want to walk in peace, you must learn how to handle criticism without letting it define you. Criticism is inevitable. You can do everything right with the purest intentions, and someone will still find a reason to criticize you. That's the nature of the world we live in. People will project their insecurities onto you. They'll speak from their pain, not always from truth. And if you're constantly absorbing those opinions without filtering them, you'll end up living in fear, not freedom. Here's the first mindset shift you need. Not all criticism is created equal. Some of it is rooted in jealousy, some in misunderstanding, some in control, and yes, some of it is constructive. But that doesn't mean all of it deserves your energy. You have to learn how to pause and ask, is this criticism helping me grow, or is it trying to shrink me? Is this coming from someone who knows me, respects me, and wants the best for me, or someone who's just trying to bring me down? When you start filtering feedback through these questions, you stop internalizing opinions that were never meant for you. Understand this. Criticism says more about the speaker than the subject. Someone may dislike your confidence because they haven't found theirs. They may resent your boundaries because they don't know how to set their own. You can't carry the weight of everyone's projections. That's not your burden. The most powerful thing you can do when faced with criticism is stay rooted in your truth. If you know your intentions were pure, if you're growing, learning, and becoming better, then criticism becomes background noise. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone who is committed to misjudging you. And yes, even constructive criticism can sting. But when you've built a strong foundation of self-worth, you can receive it without being shattered by it. You can reflect without spiraling. That's the difference between someone who seeks peace and someone who seeks validation. One welcomes feedback as a tool for growth. The other fears it as a threat to their worth. You have nothing to prove. You don't need to argue, defend, or convince. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence, not out of weakness, but from inner strength. Peace comes when you stop letting criticism rewrite your identity. Listen, learn, and let go. Take what serves you, leave what doesn't, and never forget your value isn't up for debate. Not today, not ever. Final word, choose freedom over approval. At some point, you have to make a choice, a deep, personal, unshakable decision. Will you continue living for the approval of others, or will you finally start living for yourself? Because the two are not the same. One keeps you trapped, the other sets you free. Let's be real. Trying to please everyone is a losing game. No matter how hard you try, someone will always have something negative to say. Someone will always find fault with your choices. Someone will always disapprove. So what are you chasing? Why give your peace away to people who can't even find their own? If you're always waiting for someone else to validate your dreams, your personality, your looks, your goals, you'll be waiting forever. And that waiting, it turns into frustration, into bitterness, into self-doubt. Because deep down, you're asking people to give you something they're not even qualified to hand out. Your worth. Your worth isn't a group decision. It isn't up for public vote. It isn't tied to your likes, your followers, or your achievements. Your worth is already written into your existence. And once you realize that, you'll stop trying to earn it and start living from it. Freedom is found when you choose authenticity over approval. When you finally say, this is who I am, not who the world told me to be, but who I choose to be. That's where peace begins. Not in pretending, not in pleasing, but in owning your identity, even when it's misunderstood, especially when it's misunderstood. You're going to lose people when you stop seeking validation. That's okay. Let them go. The people who only loved the version of you that performed for them were never really for you. But you'll gain something far more valuable: your self-respect, your clarity, your strength, and most importantly, your peace. Peace doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't beg to be sung. It just is. It's quiet confidence. It's the calm in your chest when you know you're doing what's right for you, even if no one claps. It's the silence in your mind when you no longer need constant reassurance. That peace, your peace, is sacred, and nothing is worth trading it. So if you want peace, stop seeking validation. Stop waiting for permission to be yourself. Stop holding back your voice so others feel comfortable. Stop molding your life to fit someone else's expectations. Start showing up. Start speaking truth. Start honoring your journey boldly and unapologetically. Because the day you decide to be real, fully, freely, and without needing applause is the day you step into your power. Choose freedom, choose authenticity, and let peace follow you. Not because the world approves of you, but because you finally do. So here we are, at the end of a powerful truth that so many people go their entire lives avoiding. You started this video because you're tired of performing, tired of pretending, tired of constantly needing someone else to remind you that you're enough. And deep down, you know this. If you truly want peace, you have to stop seeking validation. The validation you've been chasing is a mirage. It looks promising from afar. The compliments, the applause, the praise, but when you get close, you realize it never really satisfies you. It doesn't heal you. It doesn't fulfill you. It just keeps you coming back for more. Because it was never designed to complete you. It was only designed to distract you. But now, something inside of you is shifting. You've begun to understand that peace isn't found out there. It's found in here, inside your own heart, inside your own mind, inside your decision to finally stand tall in who you are without waiting for permission. And yes, walking this path isn't always easy. When you stop seeking validation, you might lose people. You might face silence instead of applause. But you'll gain something far more valuable. Your authenticity, your power, your clarity, and most importantly, your peace. Peace is not about having a perfect life. It's about living a life that's yours. It's about waking up each day knowing you don't need to impress anyone to feel worthy. It's about going to bed at night with your soul intact, not fractured by the pressure of trying to be everything for everyone. From now on, let your approval come from within. Let your voice be the loudest in the room, even when the room is silent. Let your self-worth be untouchable, because it's not hanging in someone else's hands. And when criticism comes, and it will, face it with grace, but don't let it pierce your soul. When applause comes, and it will, receive it with gratitude, but don't become addicted to it. Let your foundation be built on truth, not trends. Let your confidence be rooted in self-awareness, not social comparison. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You are enough, not because they said so, but because you finally believe it yourself. This is your invitation to step off the stage, to stop performing for approval and start living with peace, to stop chasing validation and start walking in your truth, to stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself. Let this moment be your turning point. The applause will fade, the critics will come and go, but your peace, that's yours forever, if you're brave enough to protect it. Now go, live free, live bold, live at peace, because you finally stopped needing anyone's permission to do so.